Just once again, welcome. We're glad that you guys are here. We're going to be talking for about an hour, so I apologize for that. Take copious notes. You got a notepad and pen out there if you want it. I think I've already sent out the presentation if you want it, but I just can't tell you enough how excited we are that you guys are with us. Mr. Tipton and I have been across the state. We went to Greenville, Nashville, we went to Knoxville this morning. Now we're in Bristol. We didn't do the one in Memphis just because of the low numbers over there. But we're excited that you guys are here. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a fantastic year. We are the Tops Wolves, so just be ready for that. I have a lot of wolf references. It's fun. I'm a little corny, a lot of dad jokes going on, but you'll be okay. First off, go ahead. If you don't mind, take out your phone. This QR code will take you to a Google form just to show your attendance is here. We just like to keep track of who came. I know if you're online, I apologize. It's probably hard to do with that on the phone. But again, I sent out the presentation before, so you should be able to access it with that link right there. Okay, so I'll give you a few seconds to do that. All right. If you have any problems with that, just let me know. And again, welcome. I can't tell you how excited we are to have you guys with us. It's going to be an adventure, right? If you've never been in an online learning environment before, it's probably going to be something that's totally new to you, right? It's going to be an adventure, but we are here to help you guys. We're in a partnership with you students and families, because we want you guys to be as successful as possible, all right? Like I said, this is Mr. Richard Tipton. I've also got Miss Barrett. She's down here. She is our full-time SPED teacher for our 6 to 12 students. And I think that's all we've got tonight, right? So I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Tipton. He's going to take us off.
All right, welcome, guys. To get started with a lot of this, we're just going to go back and forth with what K-5 looks like and then how 612 operates. And one reason we have the back and forth is we're very intentional in how we look K through 12. We want to start off very supportive for our younger students, and then after we're very supportive, we're going to gradually release that to where when they're high school students, they're very independent on their own. And we've built that structure and we've built that support for them, and that's one of our big goals. So first day, my teachers have already been communicating, hopefully to most of the families. If you've just gotten accepted, it's okay. We'll catch you right up. Everything will be fine. We had a quick abbreviated day yesterday for a lot of parents to jump in with teachers and have a quick Zoom and just meet your teacher, do a little quick meet and greet. And like I said, if you missed that, it's not a big deal. I do have devices at the end of tonight. We will pass those out. Anyone that was live streaming or not able to attend, we're in the process of mailing those and getting those to you. So hopefully we'll have everything ready to roll by the 1st of next week was my goal, mid next week at the latest. But we have had some applications come in, I think as late as today even. Some more, okay. So if you put your application in today, I can't guarantee your device by Monday. Teachers are going to Zoom tomorrow with a meet and greet on August 4th. I say that in all hopes and honesty right now. I just drove through Greenville. There's some flooding in there right now. Roads are getting closed down, and so that's pending all my people being able to get to our place to be able to Zoom. So as of right now, 100% that's on, but I just want to throw that potential contingency. We'll test our messaging system Swift. If something goes and changes, I'll send messages out. We'll log into Canvas as soon as we can to be sure we can get in. We do have some, we call it Launchpad or ClassLink that we utilize, and it's a single sign-on. We try to make it as seamless as possible for younger age students to be able to get in and learn online and try to remove that technology barrier. Teachers are going to send emails to communicate with families, and Zoom schedules will be posted on Canvas. I'll show you exactly where to get that here in a little bit when we look at a quick Canvas splash page. Try to keep your schedule as consistent as possible, but if you have things pop up, it's online, it's flexible. We do record live Zooms. You can go back and rewatch them. If you're not feeling good one day, that's not a big deal. If you have an appointment or something you need to get to, or if you just have some events you need to take care of, we're flexible enough to do that. go back and watch the recording. Good communication with your teacher is always essential. I will say, communication-wise, from the K-5 perspective, since you have one teacher all day and they really focus on you, I have them do most of the communication. So every week they're going to send email communication to you. Here's what's coming up this week, and here's the next thing coming at your way. I, as a principal, don't communicate as frequently for that reason, that they're going to be every day, and it's very relevant to exactly what your child needs. If I'm sending out a lot of K-5 stuff, there's always a lot in there you don't need. I do try to send out monthly emails and have that school-wide communication open, but I'm trying not to bombard your email and make you read a lot of stuff that you really don't want to read. So we're trying to be very intentional with that. If you feel like you need more communication from us, please let us know. We'll communicate more and we'll open that door. All right, first day of school logins. I've got, whenever I give you your device, I've got just a cutout. It's got your password, it's got your username, and then if you go straight to ClassLink, you might have to add the @gcschools.net. Our K-5, we do partner with Bristol, and it's Greenville City Schools is why that email is different. We have 2 or 3 different systems that we're partnering through with emails, and it can be a little bit confusing. But so it'll say GC Schools now. It's just it gets you into all my learning tools really easily. But you're still a Bristol school student, and everything's fine there. But it's just one of those that gets you into all my learning tools really easy, and everything's logged in and synced where my teachers have access. Canvas is our main. It really helps isolate. I even wear them myself. My daughter, when she's online, it's so much easier. The dishwasher starting up, any random thing in your house, those noises that sometimes can just distract us and get us off task. Having the over-the-ear headphone really helps students zone in to what's happening with the Zoom or with the video, so they'll focus a lot better and be less distracted. So I'd really encourage over-the-ear headphones when possible. If you have a K-1 student and you don't feel comfortable or you want to be able to hear that, you can either do headphone splitters as one easy thing and hook another one into a speaker, or you can if it's somebody by itself, you can just have that out loud, because our kindergarten teacher will sometimes say, hey, grab your home learning partner and have them go get this for us, or let's work on this together. So there's some partnership between the school and the parent with that. So the younger they are, the harder that is, but 3, 4, 5 especially, headphones really beneficial.
All right, so as Mr. Tipton said, just FYI, so Greenville, we're in a partnership with, we're Bristol, right? Bristol, we have Bristol Tops, we're 6 to 12. Greenville Tops is K to 5. So we're in a unique partnership. So we started this, this will be our 3rd year? Holy mackerel. So 3rd year doing this. It's been great. We keep growing each year, so it's fantastic. We really work well together, in my opinion. So that's why we're going back and forth a lot. But we do match a lot of the things that we do. So for 6 to 12, okay, our first day of school is not till Tuesday, August 8th. All right. We will be sending out logins, our ClassLink logins, tomorrow, I believe. I think I'm going to try to get that done tomorrow. And then following that, we should be ready to go for Tuesday, but we'll get into that in a minute. So first thing, what we'd ask all of you guys to do, hopefully you already have a TOPS Gmail. That is the @TennesseeOnlinePublicSchool.org. I've already sent those out. If you do not have a TOPS Gmail account, please let me know for 6 to 12 students. Log into Canvas. That's when you would use the @btcs.net account. Please do that on the first day of school. Get in there. Make sure you can navigate. You understand how to go, where to go, what to do. And if you've been in that TOPS SOS class that I've assigned most of you guys to,
all the learning tools. So for if that computer's down or if you've left it and you went off on a trip and you've got another device, you can use any device, go to that website and go to the K5 Launchpad and get access to everything you need essentially. But that's really the only link we have there. The top one, the Continue Your Top's website, we put out our documents and just more about the school there. If you need to read, most of you have probably already read about us. If you applied and they apply now, you've already used that link if you're here tonight. And then the bottom three.
Yeah, so those bottom three, this is where we tell a lot of students and families to go. ClassLink, again, as I alluded to earlier, that is where you would log on to Canvas. You go to ClassLink, you would click on that, it'll take you to like Welcome to BTCS Resources. You click on Sign In, and then that's where you would use your btcs.net account to sign in. Email, that'll just take you to google.com. You could just go to google.com if you want to. It's whatever works for you. PowerSchool, that will take you to for students or parents, okay? So it's the same thing. And once again, remember, you use that same login as you would for ClassLink, just without the btcs.net. So those bottom three, that's where a lot of our traffic comes from: ClassLink, email, and PowerSchool.
All right, STAR testing. So we STAR test K through 12. This is our universal screening test, and this is something that helps us determine if students need support, if they're struggling, if students are accelerating at something. It just really lets us help see where that student's at. We do this K through 12, and this, you might qualify for RTI, which is just additional help from a teacher. If you need that in a specific subject, and we try to be very specific on the skills you're learning in RTI and really improve what you need help with. So if you need help with multiplication, we don't want to be working on division. We want to be sure we're focusing on what the needs the student have. So that the test is total for ELA and math will take about an hour. It's an adaptive test, and this is something that I really want parents to understand. We want to know where your child's at, and that helps us guide where we can take them. With adaptive test, they're only about 30 questions long, but the thing is, I never took an adaptive test as a student, but I've watched students take it and I've tried to help them. It's very frustrating because a lot of students are used to getting everything right on test, or most of everything right. Adaptive tests are designed for them to miss a lot of questions. So it's going to ask them a question. If I'm a third grader, it's going to ask me a third grade question. If I get that question right, it's going to ask me a little tougher third grade question. If I get that one right, it's going to ask me a little tougher third grade question. So it's finding that zone of where I'm at. If I'm up in a fourth grade question and I'm a third grader and I don't know it and I get frustrated as a student and the tears start happening and I'm just struggling, and as a mom or dad, you don't like to see that, you want to come and help your child. If you help them on the fourth grade question, all it's going to do is give them a harder fourth grade question, and it's going to keep progressing them. So we want to be sure if they don't know it, my big thing that I'd always tell students is it's okay to not know it, and if you don't know it, miss it. We need to see that, because as teachers, that lets me know what you know and what you don't know. And if you don't know something, I want you to show it on that test. It doesn't count as a grade or anything like that. We want you to miss that, and that way we can see, okay, you don't know that skill, so that's something we need to work on. So for STAR test, be as honest and as transparent with us as you can, because that just lets us build a better plan for students learning. That's a big thing that sets TOPS apart, is we are teacher driven. We do really believe in investing in teachers and teachers working with your students. We don't use canned programs, and so our content will adapt, but these tests help guide us. So the more you can faithfully do that and we actually see where the students are at, it gives us better information that we can better react on. So STAR testing is very important. Case testing, Mastery Connect is another one we use as a benchmark. We use it in the same way. It doesn't count as grades all the time, and so it's really information to help our teachers go, all right, we need to work on this lesson a little bit longer, we're not getting it. So when you're doing some of these assessments, ChatGPT, everything that's out, it's easy to get answers now. So any of that, the more honest you can be with us, the more we can respond faithfully and we can help your child. So really encourage you with those testing, take them serious and have the children take them serious. Don't stress out over them. Do your best, and that's what we want to. That's where we want to see. We want to see where you're at. But if a child is struggling with that or they're shutting down on it, just have them calm down and go, do you know this? If it's no, pick A, move on, or pick nothing and move on. It's okay. Like, missing one is fine. But that's hard for students who are really trying to do their best and they really want to please us. So that's a big thing for STAR testing, is just to be as honest as we can and truthful with it. Next type of testing, in-person testing. So you've met us in person for this one, which I love to be able to see everyone's face that we can, and some of streaming we haven't seen in person yet. But this is our other requirement that we need people to come in person for. And 10 Ready is grades 3 through 8, and this only happens at the end of the year. And so it's normally very late April, mid to late April, and early May. Lots of times we're done by May 5th-ish in that area. But we will have multiple test sites. Most of us here today will probably be back in Bristol. And we have those in all core subjects in 3 through 8. That's the reason I said that wrong earlier. In 3 through 8. 3 through 5 hasn't had social studies in a few years. I don't know if we're going to get it this year or not. Typically budget 4 days in any grade band that you're at for EOC testing, 3 through 8, because we break the third, fourth, and fifth ELA into 2 days to help chunk that a little bit for students. So they come in and do an essay part, which is pretty long, and then they'll do the other parts. So we still adjust for 4 days. Middle school, they will normally do it in 4 days also, but they can do all the English in one shot. And then high school is the one that's a little bit different. It's still EOC 10 ready, but it could be up to twice a year. And it really depends on your schedule. And so those list of courses there are the only things tested. If you're a junior or senior, you might not have any state testing mandated from the 10 ready standpoint. But if you're in Algebra 1 Part 2, Geometry Part 2, or Algebra 2 Part 2, and most of those are spring classes, and then English 1, English 2, those could happen either or. Biology is either or, and U.S. history is either or. So you might come in December and take just a English 1 only, and then come back in the spring and take your Algebra 1. And if you're a freshman, and your biology could be either one of those also. So depending on when you're taking that, it could be in December, it could be in April, May, and so your load varies depending on your course load. ACT is the other one that you would come in person for, and it's for juniors and seniors. Normally there's a senior retake that we try to do in the state around October. There's normally a December test date that's a national test date, and then the junior test is in the spring. And vouchers also for that. So Mr. Humphrey, they will send out vouchers for that, and so that lets you take it at your sort of luxury. So we're not going to predetermine the date. So the EOC, the state actually gives us a testing window, and we have to be within that window. ACT is so much more flexible. There's about 6 test dates a year, and you can pick and choose. It is a graduation requirement to take your ACT, though, to graduate in the state of Tennessee. So we have to get every student to take the test. And then with juniors and seniors having the retest option, that's a free opportunity. That test normally costs like $30 to $50 to take. It's a free opportunity to improve your score, maybe get a little more college scholarship money, or get out of a college remedial class. So it's a free opportunity that you can have an extra time. Most colleges will take the best score at the worst case scenario, or some do super scores. So it can be very beneficial for scholarship money, lottery scholarship, or possibly getting out of classes. So ACT, a lot of help for that, and I think we got some parts about helping later on that, don't we? Helping for ACT, tutoring, that's coming up.
All right, so this year, I didn't do this last year, trying something new here. We're gonna do a quick reminds for all of our grade levels, so I'm not gonna use this a lot, but I am gonna use it. And if you never use remind is just a way to text. It's a safe way of texting. If I want to send out announcements to 6th grade or 7th grade or just seniors, right? Something that not everybody needs to know about. So this is grade specific. So basically what you would do, you would type in the text number, or the number is 8101. That's where the message is going to. The message itself will be dependent upon what grade level you're in. So if you're in 6th grade, the message will say 2030 Wolves, and so forth, all the way to 12th grade, which is 2024 Tops. Somebody already had the embargo on the Wolves for the high school, I guess, but I will have it after those 4 years. So take some time, and once again, I've already sent this out, but try to join students and parents, okay? I want everybody to join as much as possible, just because it just helps. Another way to communicate, right? And I know sometimes I send a lot too much, but I'd rather over-communicate than under, so you have an idea of what's going on. But more than anything, again, trying to reach you on these cell phones instead of sometimes people don't like email. So anyway. So take a few minutes to do that at any points, but I'm going to go ahead and go on. All right, Canvas. As we've mentioned, Canvas is our hub, okay? That is where everything is located. That is where our work, the students will submit work in Canvas. That's where the instruction will be. That's where teachers' instructions will be. That's where the grades will be. That's where the videos that they make will be. Everything that you need to do will be in Canvas. Now, there may be links within Canvas that may take you somewhere else to do something, but that will still be in Canvas overall, okay? And so if you've never used Canvas, it's pretty user-friendly, but at the same time, we've got to get used to using that every single day. Not every single day, but whenever you're logging in to do work, you've got to be in Canvas. There's a couple things that we always like to use. Canvas message. That's another way to send a message to your teacher. It's like an email, form of email, but it's not exactly. It just goes to their Canvas account. So it's a good way of communication with your teacher. And we've already mentioned an observer account. That's for families. So that way you can see exactly what your student sees, right? If they've made a grade, you can see that grade. Can you see other students' grades? No. If they're in a discussion, you can't see what other students write, but you can see what your student writes, okay? So it's very important. You can also see student feedback or teacher feedback on certain assignments. So it gives you a good understanding of exactly what they're doing in class, how they're doing, if the teachers are giving them feedback, what they're saying about their assignments, and so forth. So please take that opportunity to look at feedback and grades in Canvas, because once again, Canvas is where everything is going to be. Some people love to use PowerSchool, and it's great, but we don't use PowerSchool like the in-person schools do. If you want to see your up-to-date information, you go to Canvas, okay? Anything you want to add there? Okay. So just real quick, if you've never been in Canvas, hopefully you have at some point, this is what it looks like, all right? You've got the far left, just a couple little navigational tools, the account, you'll have your picture up there. You can put your own picture in there, make it school-appropriate picture, right? Dashboard, that's where you would go to see all your different classes, the little tiles. Courses, you can see old, new, and upcoming courses. You may not be able to access those courses, but you can see them. Calendar, I would recommend Calendar. If you're very visual, if you don't like to plan things out for the week, the calendar will show you exactly what's due. Now, for the high school, middle and high school, everything's going to be on Friday, so it's going to look like a big long list of things to do. It's a little overwhelming, but it does help you see it. It's like, okay, I've got this. All right, I know what to do for all my different classes. I think they even color code them too by classes, so it's pretty neat. It does help. Inbox, that's what I was talking about earlier, that little inbox symbol, that'll show you exactly, that'll take you to message a teacher. You just type in their name, so forth. History, Mastery is one of those things we talked about. That's our assessment tools. That's where benchmarks will be. 6, 7, 8 will have benchmarks for math, ELA, social studies, science, algebra 1, algebra 2. All the core classes that have an EOC, you will take benchmarks, midterms. Every high school class will have a final, and that may not be in Mastery, but that's one way to access it. Now, over here, this is all of just the syllabus, the main page. That's where the class information is going to be. Notice it's got my contact information, when I'm available, my email. It'll have our live class links for our middle school students, all that. So that's just kind of like when you click on the class in Canvas, that's where it's going to take you. And then notice the little menu on the left, the little red letters, home, grades, syllabus, modules. The grades will take you to their grades. It'll sort the grades, the assignments by due date, so you can see everything nice and orderly, right, an orderly way. And you can see if there's a little dash there, that means nothing's been submitted. However, if there's a little symbol, like a little paper symbol, I believe it is, that means you've submitted it, just haven't been graded. And then, of course, if it's been graded, it'll show you a little grade. And then it'll also show you if there's like a little bubble, a little comment bubble, that means the teacher made a comment on it. So you need to look at that, so their feedback. Syllabus is what this main page is. Modules, again, 6 to 12, that's what we use, modules. When you go to a class, if you want to see what assignments you are supposed to do, you go to your class, and then you go to modules. It'll outline exactly what you're supposed to do for that week, okay? The other ones are not really as important. Google Drive, some teachers use that. Badges, some people use that. Mastery Tracker. Some teachers just link inside the modules for Mastery Tracker and Mastery Assessment. But either way, that's what Canvas looks like. Notice on the right, I will say, everybody see that to-do list over there on the right side? Just exit out of that. If you could block that out of your brain, don't even look at that. Because what that does, that shows you what's due for the week, which is great, but then if you only go to that to-do list and do things off there, you miss all of the instruction, right? You may go to the assignment that's due, but that's just this place where the assignment's going to be turned in. You're missing everything, how to do it above it, right? So that's why we always tell students, don't worry about the to-do list. Go to the modules for 6 to 12. I know K5, he's going to talk about something a little differently.
I agree with him on the to-do list. Please stay away from it, even in K5. I wish Canvas would, if Canvas is listening to the live stream, please remove the to-do list from the side of the to-do bar for us, or give us the option to remove it. to me, it's even like you might miss the instruction for it, but you might do things out of sequence that weren't designed. And there's really no rhyme or reason of how it populates the order. So I also strongly discourage the to-do list. This is just a sample look of what one of the elementary courses will look like, and this is the top part of the screen. We still have the links on the left side, the globals. I cut that off, but then there's the class links available. The TOPS logo there is just a picture. It's just a logo. But the green bar there that says Synchronous Learning Schedule, that is actually a button. If you click on that, it will open up their Zoom schedule for the week. So elementary, we Zoom a lot more throughout the day. Teachers will put their Zoom schedules there. So any week, or if you're unsure, you can click there. It will go to a page that has the exact Zoom schedules for all week for the students. So that way you can do a quick map of what your schedule for the week's going to be. So click on that Synchronous Learning Schedule button. That will open up to another page that will be very informative. If the teachers have to change anything, they will change it there. You can go. All right, below that, we are very consistent across K-5 for this. The middle bar is not as consistent. Some teachers will put very specific stuff. So this is either a K or 1 class that they were working with the letter tiles and the math videos and the books. But that top bar with the days, we have that consistent across K-5. Instead of students looking at a big module list and having a lot of information in front of them, we chunk it down really small and try to make it very digestible for K-5 students, so they're not looking at it as much at every single day or getting overwhelmed with that. So if it's Monday, they click the Monday picture. It will take them to a Monday page, and it has exactly what they need to do for Monday. And then when they come back Tuesday, they click the Tuesday page. So if you miss one, you can just go click the day before, and you know exactly what you need to get done for the day. They do a little table in there, and it will have the times and what they're doing. The whole group Zooms get recorded and get posted on that same page. So it's all there in one place. So if I'm sick on Monday, not feeling good, you call in and say, hey, we went to the doctor, or I'm using a parent note. We need to be excused for Monday. We're running behind. That's okay. Jump on and do Tuesday. When you get a little free time, go back to Monday and start working on it. Now, my teachers do a lot of work each week for this, though, to make this happen. Every week they have to reset every one of those buttons to the new lesson. And so they're doing a lot of work on the back end to try to make it easier for the students to navigate each week. We've had really good success out of that. But let's say it's Friday and you get sick and you miss. And then it goes to next week and they've already changed all the buttons. Down at the bottom, you see the older assignments button. Click that. It'll take you to like the module view, so it's a lot more information, so you'll probably want parent support for that. But it's going to have a lot of information in there, basically of everything for the whole year listed. Then you can go find the day. They'll name them by date. You can find the day of the page and go and find the last week's work. So it's still there. We still house it, but we try to keep that out of view of most of the students unless it's a weird circumstance or something's happened. The help desk is very beneficial for us. Our IT guys will man that. You can always email your teacher if you're having difficulty with anything tech-wise or needing help. You can email me. I can help out. Our tech desk also, if it's something that I might not be able to handle, they can remote into our devices and help take control of that and really do some more major work than I can handle if needed. So help desk is there and available. If you happen to click on that and don't get a quick response, we had that constantly manned through COVID, and as we came out, it's getting a little bit where they're in the buildings out a little bit more. So if you have clicked that and somebody's not there, that's when definitely email me and let me know, and we'll be sure we've got somebody that can jump on the call.
Okay, on the flip side, he's got all these cutesy little graphics. 6 to 12, not like that, okay? We're kind of just, here's the module, here's the date, let's go, right? So we use the weekly modules. They don't use that. They like to have them sorted out by days. We don't. We sort it out by weeks, okay? Like everything's going to be, when you open that module, everything there is going to be due for the week, okay? So we recommend, and I'll show you a screenshot of what it looks like in a second, but we recommend that, well, let me back up. Those open on a normal week on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, okay? At 8 o'clock. Sometimes before then, but most of the time it's 8 o'clock in the morning. You don't have to work on Saturday and Sunday, but basically our premise is we're giving you a lot more flexibility because it's open on Saturday. You can work Saturday and Sunday. You don't have to, okay? But it's there if you want to. You could just open it up and see what your schedule is for the week. See what assignments you got to do, right? So they open up on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. You can go ahead and make a schedule. And what we always recommend, well, I've lost track here. Oh, the second one. To be counted present, work must be turned in on time. So the work opens on Saturday. It's due by the following Friday, okay? That's 6 to 12. Now, I will say there are a couple classes, mainly just math, where they have a due date, the high school due date on Tuesday. And that's really just to keep you on track. That's like Algebra 1, Algebra 2, right? So if you're not in those classes, you may be good. But in order to be counted present, you've got to turn those assignments in by the due date. And typically, that due date is always Friday. You will have a due date on Friday, but sometimes they have that Tuesday due date in for math. And then sometimes if you turn it in early, you may be able to resubmit something again, right? Teachers say, hey, you didn't do this right. Let's try to fix this, right? Not all the time, but sometimes. 6 to 8, very similar. It's the same thing. You'll have a module open on Saturday. Attendance is taken the same way. But remember, 6 to 8, you will have live classes, okay? And I'll talk more about those in a second. Well, I'll go ahead and mention it now. Those live classes for 6 to 8, you have one per class. So you have one live math class, one live science, one live social studies, one live ELA, and then you'll have a fifth one of related arts. We rotate related arts every 9 weeks, so that'll change every 9 weeks. So you'll have a live class. Now, what we're doing differently this year, okay, we're going to try this, see how it goes. We did it with our 8th graders last year, and it works fine. So everybody's got to attend the live class the first 4.5 weeks. After that first 4.5 weeks, if you have an 80 or a B average and you don't have any missing assignments, you do not have to attend the live classes anymore, okay? Now, are you kicked out? No. You can still attend the live classes if you want to, but again, those live classes are designed to help those students and to interact with other students, to teach, to reteach, pre-teach, all those different types of things. So all of that information will be within the module 6 to 12. Remember, 9 to 12, you do not have any live classes, so you can just disregard about that for 9 to 12. Yep.
On the due date, elementary K-5, we also have Friday due dates, what we set for attendance, the same as 6-12. We will put a Monday due date on an assignment, though, because it helps build that calendar out, and it actually puts things throughout the week. So sometimes you'll see something turned in late. You turned it in on Tuesday, had a due date on Monday. There's no penalty for that. It's due on Friday. So you have plenty of time. You can turn things in. So when you go to the grades and you're checking to be sure everything's turned in, if something's late and it was a day late, it's not a big concern for us. We don't dock any points. Nothing gets changed with that. But we will put the due date on what day it's done, and that way when you go back and look at that calendar view, everything is exactly on the calendar view in the same way, so you can really quickly see the calendar view, and it's populated across the week. Again, we're trying to chunk up that data and that information for the smaller students. So as a middle school, high school student, you have it all in one big list on Friday. We try to chunk that throughout the week and make it in small manageable bites.
Yeah, so this is an example of a module in Canvas. Now, this is a middle school example. Some teachers like to sort it by date, like I've done here. This is just a quick example. So notice every module is going to have what we call an overview or a pacing guide or whatever you want to call it. It's going to say, here's what you are supposed to do for the week. It'll have the standards listed. It'll have like some essential questions. It'll have a pacing guide, what they expect you to do, like Monday or on the day 1, do this, day 2, do that, and so forth. So, but it's going to have everything listed in the module that's expected to be done by Friday, okay? So it's outlined a little bit, but all the due dates are on Friday. But I will tell you this, some teachers have gotten smart, and I like this. You may not be able to see these assignments unless you click on that overview, because a lot of teachers put important information in that overview. Like some of them make a video and say, here's what's expected for the week. Sometimes they even put a little secret code word in the video, so you have to have it to unlock something later on. So they're getting tricky here, right? But the module may not even open until you view that the overview at the very beginning of the module. And again, going back to the to-do list, sometimes you click on something on the to-do list and it says access denied. I wonder why that is. Well, it's because you have not viewed the overview at the beginning of the module. So again, make sure you go to the modules, you see exactly what's expected. Okay. Talking about modules all the time. So office hours. Office hours is are times when teachers are immediately available to support you, talk to students, chat with students, email with students. Each teacher will have at least 2 times during the week that they're available in office hours. Okay, at least twice, sometimes more. But those times when you can directly talk to them. Now, does that mean you can only email them during those times? No, you can email them at any time. But if you email a teacher on Sunday at 12 p.m., they're not going to answer right back, right? They will answer back within 24 hours of the next workday. So workday's Monday through Friday, right? So But their office hours, those are times when they are immediately available, that you will know you will get a response, okay? So those can be found on their Canvas page, on their syllabus page. So, you want to attend office hours to get that additional support. Let's say you didn't understand a problem. You didn't understand why you got this grade, right? Or you need help with a certain problem. So sometimes it's just good just to say hello to a teacher. Check in with them. Say, hey, I've noticed this, or I'm missing this, can I help? Anything. So office hours are times for you to contact the teacher and to receive as much support as you need. Okay, PowerSchool, we've talked a lot about attendance, okay? So basically, PowerSchool, we use it for three things, and that's really only three things only, okay? We use it for attendance. That's where we will send an email out on Tuesday, and you will go to PowerSchool and check your attendance. That's what we ask you to do, okay? Now, just to remind you, if you do not turn your assignments in by that due date, by Friday, that means you're going to be counted absent for a particular class, okay? So that's why it's important that when Ms. Warren sends out an email for our 6 to 12 students and families, hey, attendance has been posted, you get in there in PowerSchool and you check and see, and I'll show you an image of what it looks like. See exactly, was my student marked absent at all last week, okay? Because we do it by the week. If you get an absence, that means you did not turn it in on time. Now, does that mean you cannot turn it in at all? No, that means you can still turn it in, right, for a grade, but at the same time, that's why you get an absence, because it was not turned in by the due date. And teachers, it'll be closed on Friday, or the due date's on Friday. The teachers will work over the weekend or on Monday to get their attendance taken care of. They will send everything to Ms. Warren. She will go through and kind of make sure everything looks right. If there's any doctor's notes or anything that you guys have sent in to her, she will fix all those things for you. And then Tuesday, hopefully around lunchtime or so, she will send an email to everybody and say, hey, check attendance. And then you should go in there and check as soon as possible. We don't really give out report cards. We just tell students, hey, and families, hey, go to PowerSchool. That's where your final grades are located, okay? I know Mr. Tipton, they like to send things. They'll send emails. I think it's PDFs. Is that what you use? It's encrypted PDFs. You got to have a password to access them. We don't do that for 6 to 12, but we tell everybody to go to PowerSchool to check those out. And also the contact information. If anything changes, if you change phone numbers, change email addresses, maybe we're contacting you on the wrong email, we need to know that, because that just helps us to keep contacting the right person, right? We don't want to contact anybody that's unnecessary. Anything else you want to add PowerSchool-wise? Yeah. So like when testing comes, as we mentioned earlier, those in-person testing requirements, it just helps us to know, especially like emergency contacts. We're sending out important information. We want to make sure you guys get this information as soon as possible. So if you don't have the correct contact information, or the correct, like your grandfather can pick this student up. Those are things we look at when it comes to in-person testing. So we need to have that in PowerSchool as accurately as possible. And so this is just an example, okay, of what PowerSchool looks like. It's got your classes in the middle. Notice it says course. Notice on the left it says last week. That's where you're going to see if you were counted absent for the previous week, okay? You look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then there's this week. You're not going to have any absences or anything in this week, because remember, our attendance is delayed. So we will do attendance for the previous week. So you look at last week to see what's going on. You've got your class list. You've got the quarters, and the grades are going to be in those little, I've marked out her grades. This is my daughter's screenshot from a couple years ago. So it's good. It'll have your grades, and then notice on the far right too, it's going to have your absences. So that means class absences. So for example, my daughter had missed homeroom 5 times. She was counted tardy 1 time, okay? Now for 6 to 12, we don't do tardies. I know Mr. Tipton will mention tardies in a second. But that kind of shows you, if this was a top student and I saw that first period, a student was absent 5 times, that means that student had turned in 5 assignments late, or didn't turn in 5 assignments at all, right? You see where I'm going with that? So those are things that we kind of see, or I kind of look at. It's like, oh, that student's got 15 absences in math, so that means they're not turning their assignments in on math on time, right? Because our attendance is based on turning things in by the due date. So I will, if you get to a point where you start having a lot of absences and different things like that, we will have a conversation, and I'll show you some things about PowerSchool and Canvas, some trends that we're seeing with the student. And we've already talked about this, talking about due dates. Remember, it's not about it's not about how much time you sit in front of your computer screen, right? I know some online schools, you've got to be on your computer from 8 to 3 o'clock in order to be counted present. We are not like that, okay? You turn your assignments in by the due date, that shows that you attended school, right? So it's not about, I was on the computer from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. last night, so I should be counted present. No. You may have been on your computer from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., but if you don't turn anything in, you're not going to be counted present, okay? So I hope everybody understands that. It's a little different. Again, some online schools, they like to do attendance. The parents do attendance, right? Some online schools, you've got to be on a Zoom for so long. So this is just the way that we've done it. We've had a lot of success with it. But more than anything, it gives you guys flexibility to do what you want to do, right? Maybe it doesn't take you as long to do the work as it does in person, right? Maybe you're only spending less than half the time that you're supposed to. It cuts out a lot of those middle things, right? There's no class changes. There's no lunch that you have to deal with. There's no just sitting waiting on the bus, whatever. So there's a lot more flexibility with an online school, and we try to give you as much as possible, but we've got to have assignments turned in time. That's the big thing. So.
On elementary attendance, at the high school, you can see exactly which class they've not turned things in. Elementary, we typically will have 3 classes a day. So we'll do math, English, and then either science or social studies. We rotate that like they do the related arts. If a student doesn't turn in an assignment in one of those classes, it'll count as a tardy. If they don't turn in 2 of those assignments and it's after the Friday due date, if they don't turn in 2 for a certain day, that counts as an absence, 2 or more. So 1, you get a little bit of grace and you get a tardy, but to me, the absences are really communication from me to you to say, if we're getting tardies, we're missing things, just like he was saying, checking on the right. If you're getting absences, we're missing a lot of things. So we want to be sure we stay on top of that with the K-5, that you'll see the tardies popping up, but then the absences mean you're missing more, the majority of the day.
All right, so as I mentioned, you got to Google. We're being very repetitive sometimes, and that's okay. We're trying to get you guys to understand some things. 6 to 12 Google. Once again, your TOPS email, your at TennesseeOnlinePublicSchool.org email address. We ask you that you guys check that Monday through Friday, right? Just because we send information out, teachers will send information out, but it's very important that you look at that. And I will say Canvas, teachers will send messages through Canvas too, so please check your Canvas messages. It's unbelievable sometimes. I can mask as a student, so whatever, like if a student's having an issue with something in Canvas, I can get on there and mask as them and see what they see so I can help them navigate through there. But sometimes they have 50 unread messages in Canvas. I'm like, what are you guys doing here? So please check your email, check your Canvas messages as much as possible, and respond, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But check your email. But with the TOPS email, you also have Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, access to all that. Those are browser-based programs that you can use. You don't have to download Microsoft. You don't have to have Microsoft Word, any of that. You can use Google Docs. Now, you can still use Microsoft Word if you want. That's fine. But we like to use the Google Suite, the Google Apps, Google Marketplace. I can keep on going because they keep changing their name. All those different things. And we use Google Chat a lot. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Google Chat. Some teachers love to use Google Chat. So sometimes you just want to send a quick message to a teacher, and they will respond pretty much not right away. It depends on if it's their office hours or not. But we do utilize all the Google apps. It's just something that we like to do, and we find it very easy, and it works pretty seamlessly with Canvas as well. Okay, let me stop here for a minute. I know we're kind of in a big space here. Any questions so far? I know online they can't really ask any questions, but any questions as far as attendance, Canvas, anything like that is concerned? Which testing? The STAR testing? Yeah, so the STAR is a universal screener test. They will take that 3 times during the year. They will take it at the beginning of the year. I think it's December, is that right? And then they'll take it kind of at the end of the year too. So it's kind of sees exactly. And that's only for grades K through 10. So if you're 11th or 12th grade, you will not have to take that. Middle school, they'll put that, and I think K5, you put it within the class, right? Like they'll do this. So, K through 8, you will do it within each math or ELA class. 9 and 10, I will send messages out. Actually, I won't. Our RTI coordinator, Dr. Guess, will. She will send information about that where you'll have to do it. It's basically, like I said, it won't take long, 30 minutes to test. But, yeah, good question. Any other questions? just to remind you, remember, we are a public school, okay? So we abide by those state policies, okay? And that's why we have the in-person testing requirements. So, I know a lot of people, there's a lot of misconception about online schools. We are a public school, so that's why you have to show up for those in-person tests. But again, it's not much. Just, we ask, do not schedule any vacations around those times, right? Like the first, second week of December or late April, that's usually when those testing windows are with the state, and those we cannot change, okay? Those testing windows are already set. We can't test before, we can't test after. So it's important that you guys show up, because if you don't show up, it kind of really hits us hard. It's a very high percentage we've got to hit. And so things happen, right? We know that. So we try to make as many people aware of that as possible. Anything you want to add there? Okay. If there's no other questions, we're going to go on. We're on the home stretch. Okay, we're getting there, I promise. All right, so again, very repetitive things that we're saying, but we're really trying to hone in on exactly what we want and expect our students and families to do. So what can students do to be successful at TOPS? As we've said 1,000 times, make a schedule. Look at the pacing guides. As I mentioned, that first thing in the module that shows up for our 6 to 12 students, that helps. It gives you a good idea of what's expected for the week. Early in the week, don't wait to complete things later in the week. And that's another point down here. As I said, number 2, don't wait to work on assignments until later in the week. Work in each class every day. Treat it like a typical school day. Now listen, that's it depends on who you are. I've got some students, they will knock out a math class all in one day. They will do all math one day, all ELA one day, and so forth. Do I like that? I don't like that. But you know what? It works for them. So I encourage you all to find something that works for you and your family, all right? Whatever schedule that may be. Sometimes it may be work on Saturday and Sunday, right? And then you're done by Tuesday, Wednesday. So then you have Thursday and Friday to relax. Or it may be waking up Monday morning and say, all right, hey, 8 o'clock, let's work on math for an hour. Let's treat it like a normal school day. Work on math for an hour, take a break, work on ELA for an hour, and so forth. So I just encourage you guys to kind of mess around. You're not going to be perfect the first couple weeks, I promise you. It's going to be a learning curve, okay? Because it's just different, right? You don't have bells to ring and tell you go to math class, right? You've got to be a little more self-disciplined and have the time management skills to say, okay, let's take a break. Let me stop. Let me go back here, and let's look at exactly what I've got to do from other classes, okay? So don't wait to work on assignments. And I also tell you, if you wait to work on specific assignments, I would wait, or if you're going to wait on the classes that's easier. Don't wait on math classes. Things that you're getting accustomed to. I can knock this out, in a short amount of time. Because what that also does, it narrows the window down to how long you can access the teacher. If you wait to work on a class until Thursday, you email the teacher Thursday night, you're giving them only Friday to respond, right? And then, again, things happen, right? Sometimes we're closed on Friday. Well, now, I may talk about that real quick, because have we mentioned that? We haven't mentioned that yet, have we? I'll get that. Remind me. But you're closing that window down where you only give the teacher one day and that to respond and to help you, right? So the longer you wait to start working on assignments, you're narrowing that window down, and it's giving you less and less time. And we want you guys to be as successful as possible. So try to work early in the week and get those things done as soon as possible. Next thing, have a quiet place where you can focus free of distractions. Believe it or not, some students can't work in their bedroom. I wonder why, right? I mean, it's amazing. Sometimes they've got this Xbox right here or this PlayStation right here, and they say, oh, I'm working on my schoolwork. Well, what do you know? 5 minutes later, they're working or playing on the Xbox, right? So make sure families work together to find that place that will work for your students. Some students, it doesn't bother them. I've had some students, they can work with the Xbox sitting right there, no problem at all. Some can't take it. They see something and they want to get it done. So then some students work at the kitchen table. Some students work outside, right? So you've got the flexibility to do that, but you want to make sure it is free of distractions. And like Mr. Tipton said earlier, with the over-ear headphones, they work tremendously, even for older students. I love over-ear headphones, right? So it just takes everything else away, and you can really hone in on what you want to do. As we've mentioned before, communicate early and often. Email teachers, attend their office hours. Also respond to emails. If a teacher emails you or contacts you directly, make sure you are contacting them and returning those messages Because once again, they want you to be successful. If they didn't care about you, they wouldn't be sending you emails, okay? Just understand that. Sometimes, I know you think, oh, I'm in trouble, the teacher sent me an email. No, they want you to do better because they know you can do better, right? So that's why they communicate. They want you guys to be successful. And then, as we've always mentioned, look at feedback in Canvas and keep up with grades. It's just critical because, once again, that's the conversation you have with the teacher. Teacher tells you need to work on this, and you can ask a question, say, why do I need to work on that? And then they can return that. So it's just critical to have that conversation going with the teachers. Our teachers are fantastic. Okay, they're state certified. They're used to online learning. Okay, so and they're willing to do what they can to help you guys. So just give them an opportunity. Anything you want to do? Yep.
I have all of these points I totally agree with also for K-5. I do have a little bit more specific document that I'll send out to our K-5 people that has, I called it like a mini milestones book. I think of it like the baby book whenever your child was really little, of like, oh, at month 2 they're going to start walking. At month 3, it's not month 2 they're walking, but whatever their steps are and whatever those milestones are, we created something very similar. As a K-1 parent, what should the student be doing on their own? As a 3-5 parent, what should the student be doing on their own? So we've got a little sheet out that the teachers have said, like, here's the things we're looking for them to be independent doing on their own. And then we also got the flip side of that as a parent. What's the support as a parent that I need to be providing for a K-1 student, a 3-5 student? And so we've broke some of these down just a little bit more detailed of the extra support that they might need getting started with online learning, especially being a younger child. So we've got that broke apart a little bit, but all of these are excellent points for us too.
Yeah, you didn't remind me about what I was going to say. Just kidding. And I think I was going to talk about, like, there's some days, yeah, like weather. Like he was talking about earlier about Greenville being flooded, right? Well, his K-5 teachers go into their office to work. Our 6 to 12 is a little different. We don't have snow days, so I'm sorry. Because our work is done by the week, right? So you may have a blizzard at your house, especially hopefully, I'd love to have a blizzard, but anyway. But the work is already there. Now, if things happen, maybe your power's out. That's something we need to know. Try to communicate if you can. I know sometimes you can't because your power's out, right? But sometimes emergencies happen, and you just need to let us know as soon as you can. But also, I will mention like Labor Day. Labor Day's coming up. A little weird. So on Labor Day, remember, you're usually not in school, right? No, right? So it's a little different for us. Our modules will still open on Saturday, but the workload will be reduced, okay? So if we're closed on a specific week or teachers aren't available, that just means that the teachers aren't available to respond to emails, okay, or have a live class. Does that mean you can't work on Labor Day? I don't want you to work on Labor Day, but you can, right? If you want to, maybe you're behind, you can take that time to get caught up. So there's all these different breaks. We have a fall break, we have a holiday break, we have a spring break, all these different things. So just understand it's a little different, and we try to navigate that as we go. But I don't know if you want to mention anything else about that.
So we will have hopefully some snow days, a few maybe. We will go off the Greenville schedule though, so if Greenville City Schools closes, we cancel statewide. That's just where most of my teachers are traveling and trying to get into the building. So you might have a foot of snow in Bristol and us nothing in Greenville, and I might say we're in school as normal. You might have nothing in Bristol, we might have a foot in Greenville, and we might cancel, and your kids get to go outside and play in the fun and sun. So just depends on where you are in the state, and I know we've got people all across the state, tornadoes and stuff in Nashville is more common. So that type of thing, that if just communicate with us, we'll try to work with you as best we can, but we will have some potential inclement weather days that we will call out. So.
Okay, on the flip side of things, what can parents do to be successful? Now, I will first say, we understand, and I hope you guys understand too, it's not all about us, because we do rely on you guys a lot. It's a partnership between the school, the students, and the families, okay? Because we rely on you to help us out a little bit, make sure they have, like we're talking about here, making sure they're setting a schedule, making sure they have a good learning environment where they're free of distractions, making sure you have a Canvas Observer account to help them, hold them accountable, because we can do so much, but when we have students across the state, there's some things we can't do, right? Now, I'll go visit some parents. I'll do that. I don't mind that one bit. But at the same time, we want you guys to understand we need you, and hopefully you guys feel like you need us, because we're providing the educational service, and not that we're perfect by any means, but we want to work together is what I'm trying to say, and we rely a lot on you guys. So what can you do to be successful? As I mentioned, create a Canvas Observer account to see exactly what the student sees. Keep up with weekly attendance in PowerSchool, and I'll show you a little graphic here in a second. Talk to your student about their weekly assignments, progress, especially early on. Hey, how's it going? What can I help you with? Just talk to them, because our teachers will be talking to them too, but sometimes it's good to have that face-to-face conversation. And as I mentioned, ensure students have time and a quiet place to work each day. Contact teachers, and you guys, listen, families, parents, you guys feel free to contact the teachers as much as you want. Just to understand, we ask that you contact them from your own personal account. Don't use your student's email, okay? I know it's easier, okay? But as Mr. Tipton told the story earlier, he had a kindergarten, I don't know if you had this happen, maybe not, sorry. He had if a kindergartner writes a 3-paragraph essay to a teacher, we're going to think something's up with that, right? So make sure you use your own account to contact our teachers, just because it just helps make things a little bit easier. We know who we're talking to. And then overall, just be involved and engaged. Even in in-person school, we preach that all the time. Or not me now, but I know they preach that all the time. Be involved and engage as much as possible, but even more so in an online setting. I know we want to trust the students as much as possible. We do. But if it gets to a point where, they say they're doing this work, but yet there's nothing submitted, we've got to start having those conversations and checking on things. 'Cause we can go in and see in Canvas exactly what the students are clicking on, how much time they spent on that. We can definitely see what assignments are turning in, the quality of the assignments are turning in. So we want you guys to be involved in that as much as possible.
A real quick thing on the quiet place, that over-the-ear headphones does wonders for the students. If the background is really loud, though, and you're in a live Zoom class, just be conscious of that, because that student's going to have to be muted a lot if it's very loud around them. So we love being in your houses. We love seeing your pets, all the neat things that we get to see on live Zooms. But if there's a big argument happening in the background, it can distract the class. So the kid gets muted, and it's just one of those things. So things happen, life happens, we're in your house, and we're partners with you, like he said, so that's what we really want. But if it is a loud environment, just be conscious. If a kid's trying to Zoom, everybody in the class could be hearing that argument, so just be conscious of that.
All right, so 2 other ways that and this is just, again, I've mentioned this, but just we put some wordage to it. Thanks to Dr. Lamy for making these. Well, once again, the corny kind of, hey, get excited about some things. Midweek peak for our middle and high school, we call a midweek peak. Once Ms. Warren sends out an email and say, hey, attendance is posted, we ask that you guys do a midweek peak. That means get on PowerSchool, check attendance. That's what we ask, okay? And I'll remind everybody about that too. And then on Thursday, we call it Thursday Night Vibes. That's when you get in Canvas and you kind of check the quality of the student work, making sure they're turning in good assignments, not just blank assignments, turning in random scribbles on a piece of paper, which happens sometimes. And also making sure they're turning in everything they need to. So that's what we're asking, again, as for the parents and families to do. Check attendance weekly, midweek peak, but also Thursday Night Vibes in Canvas, so you can get in there and see exactly what they're doing, right? Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? And then, like always, if you're not understanding something, please don't hesitate to contact us. Communication's key, as we always say. Email the teacher early in the week, as early as possible. As soon as you come across something, let us know, okay? Attend the office hours. I cannot stress that enough. Those are times teachers are sitting there next to their computer waiting, okay? They want to help you, but again, we can't make you come to office hours. So make sure you know that they are there, and it's only certain times during the week, but they're there to help. Now, math is always a difficult kind of subject area. So the nice thing is we've got this thing called paper tutoring. They have 24/7, 365 days a year math tutoring. When I say math tutoring, basically, if you have a problem with a math assignment, you can log on to this paper tutoring, and they will help you and navigate through that problem or problems, okay? But it's only available with math, writing, and ACT prep, and it's only for high school students. I'm sorry. I wish we could do it for 6th, but it's a state thing. Paper is actually an international company, so if you're working on something 11 o'clock at night, teacher's not available, it's a great opportunity for you to log on, and I'll send more login information about that as we get into the beginning of the school year. Also, Ms. Barrett does a Zoom. Is it still Tuesdays and Thursdays? Okay, yeah, that's fine. So it is going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, but she has an open Zoom. If you have questions, especially algebra and geometry, those are the toughest spots for some of our students. She'll provide support there. So feel free. She'll send that information out. We will send that information out. I think we even posted it in the Canvas courses, don't we? Is that what we do? Yeah. So once again, there's opportunities there, but you got to take advantage of those opportunities. And like always, talk to our counselor. If you're having some social emotional issues, I know for high school, Miss Arnold, or you can talk to me. I know for K-5, Miss Bennett, she's fantastic too. Talk to somebody. We say this all the time, do not suffer in silence, because we don't know what's going on the other side of that screen. If you really just need somebody to talk to, please let us know, okay, students or families. Jeez. And then, of course, like I said, me and Mr. Tipton, we're here to help too, as much as we can. Okay, couple quick high school things, and we're almost done, I promise. Service learning for our high school students, we require 25 hours of community service. We call it service learning. And we do this because we want students to be outside of their home. We don't want them to be sitting behind a computer screen in their house, in a dark room, all day, every day. Okay, we want them to get outside of their home and make a difference in the community or help other people out or just have face-to-face conversations, because we know students need that interaction with others. Okay, we don't want you guys to be stuck behind a screen all day, every day. It's just not healthy. So we require 25 hours for the year, 10 in the fall, 15 in the spring, and basically all you do, you fill out reflection journal entries. You got to have somebody sign off saying you did these hours. So if you have any questions about that, you can email Ms. Trivett. She's our full-time high school English teacher. But yeah, so if you have any questions about that, you can email her. It's pretty basic for the most part, pretty open-ended, right? As long as you're getting out, whether it's with some religious organization, the Y, maybe somebody's work. I know we have a volunteer firefighter. So there's a couple, whatever works. So yeah. And the next is just summer reading for 6 to 12 students. I think you've already been sent this information. It's on the website. Just make sure you understand there will be something you're going to have to read. You should have read over the summer. Those are mainly found PDFs. There's also some books you can check out at your local library. We also have a digital library. Some of them are on there, some of them are not. But again, Ms. Trivett, she's over that as well. So make sure you are, if you have any questions about that, you can contact her. Basically how this is, you'll have something to fill out in your ELA classes, okay, at the beginning of the year or the end of the year. Or the midpoint of the year, whenever you have your ELA class. And then, as I said earlier, get involved. We understand it's very easy to get stuck at your home. We don't want that to happen, okay? So we've got some avenues for students to interact with one another, not a lot, so we really rely on the families to kind of do that yourself. We do have Beta Club, NHS, those are high school. You got to have certain GPAs for those, so, it's kind of exclusive, I guess. Esports, yeah, it's video games. We do have an esports club right now. I really want to have an esports team at some point. We just haven't got to that point yet, where we're competing against other schools. I'd love to do that. I just can't get a consistent group together right now to do that. So if you're interested in esports, let me know. Basically, they get together right now once a week and play some games. Sometimes they play a lot more than that. So don't let it distract from your schooling now, right? Mr. Tipton and I both do a parent advisory. We do it together. So if a parent is interested in joining our little parent advisory group, we just talk about things about TOPS. Whether it's the enrollment process, what would make your lives a lot easier. What can we do to help? We just want your feedback and value that feedback. We meet once a month over Zoom, and then we also have student advisory for 6 to 8 and 9 to 12. So students, if you're interested in that, we want to hear your feedback too. All right, listen. This is y'all's school, okay? We're just here to help and do whatever we can. We want to make it as positive and encouraging as possible. But we also value high expectations, and we want to challenge you as much as possible. But we still want to hear what you have to say about it. Local sports activities, clubs, YMCA, all those different places, just be involved anywhere you can. We don't want you to be stuck working. I know a lot of older students like to work, right? And that's totally great. Get outside, do something. Now, something we started last year, what we call local packs. We do have a Tri-Cities local pack, which is basically, I have a family. I want to have a couple families from each kind of area throughout the state where they're organizing monthly field trips or gatherings. I know Nashville did some museums last year. I know Tri-Cities, I think they went to a pumpkin patch or something. You know, some different things like that where they can socialize with other students, other families. Parents can get together as well. We try to do that once a month. I know, once again, it's kind of the families that are over it. I kind of organize it a little bit and try to push people different directions. But that's something I want to really try to grow this year because, once again, we want you guys to interact with one another as much as possible. And then, more than anything, stay active, take breaks, don't stay seated in the same seat for 6 hours on a day. That's not what we want you to do. You've got to get up and move, walk, exercise, whatever you need to do. We're going to try to do some things. We send out a wolf pack workout each month that you can participate in. You don't have to, but it's just something we like to do for all, especially middle school students, just some activities you could do during the day to stay active. We're also going to do some monthly physical competitions, so that'll be fun. We'll see who can do the most push-ups in a month or something. I don't know. That was just an idea. We're going to do some different competitions like that throughout the year as well. So we encourage you guys, because there's so much research done that says once your blood's pumping, you can retain much more information and you just learn more, okay? You can, it's just easier to retain that information. So get your blood pumping a little bit. It's always good for you. Okay. We already talked about counselors, Miss Bennett and Miss Arnold. Again, what they're here for. They also handle transcripts, classes, 504s. Once again, Miss Arnold handles the transcripts. If you need schedule changes for high school students, they both do 504s. I know Miss Arnold does a lot with seniors, whether that's FAFSA, that's applying to colleges, applying for work, whatever it may be. She's very involved with our seniors. And dual enrollment, if that's something you're interested in as well for our juniors and seniors. So, good. And then that's our contact information. Again, I know we went a little bit over than what I wanted to. Does anybody have any questions? And if not, if you don't want to ask right now, you can stay with me later. Yeah, go ahead. Midnight, 11:59. and like he mentioned earlier about the late tag, if you turn it in at 12, it's going to be coded as late, and you'll see that in Canvas. Now, we have kids across the state too, so sometimes, there's a little. I think Canvas notarizes that, doesn't it? So, like, if it's student in the Central Time Zone turns something in at 11:59 their time, it still works. So, good question. Any other questions? Yep. Nope. It's there, but you don't have to get online. No, it'll automatically post at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. So it's there if you want to go look at it, but you don't have to by any means. You can wait till Sunday or Monday. Yep. Good question. Anything else? All right. Well, if you have any other questions or anything, I can't tell you how much we appreciate all of you coming. Live stream, we appreciate all of you guys watching. Again, if you have any questions, if you need email, anything, just come talk to us. We're going to be here. I know Mr. Tippin's going to be handing out his devices, K5. So if you want to meet with him down here at the bottom, I hope you guys are pumped for the year to be a member of the Tops Wolves. I know I am, and I just can't wait to get to know you guys and help you guys in any way I can. Thank you. See you.